At the heart of your B2B SaaS business is your landing page. Within milliseconds of your future customers landing on your page, they're making split-second decisions on whether they hit the back button, go to your competitor's website, or keep reading. Every single time I'm working with a founder, one of the first things that I do is load up their landing page, whether it's a landing page for a lead magnet they're using or their homepage. Either way, whenever I come across a SaaS company that is struggling to grow, I've started to see three common patterns that they're making on their homepage, on their landing page. Three common mistakes that's always killing your growth without you realizing why. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the three most common mistakes that founders make on their landing page. And I'm gonna give you the three principles you absolutely need to know so that you never make those mistakes again. And when you apply these principles, you'll stop updating your homepage every single day and you'll actually be able to accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS business faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of this channel, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. 9 times out of 10, when I'm getting on a call with a founder, 9 times out of 10, I'll open up their landing page. I'll open up their website. And 9 times out of 10, if they're struggling to grow, they'll quickly say, oh, don't look at that. We're changing it. And this is one of the things that even I struggled with when I was starting my SaaS companies. When we were in the early days, we were constantly changing it. But the biggest thing I realized is the difference between the founder that actually are making changes on an iterative basis versus the founders that are just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks is the fact founders with a go-to-market strategy were making methodical changes. Whereas the founders that didn't have a proper go-to-market strategy, they were just trying to see what sticks and they were changing it every single week. And every single time I open it up, they were like, oh, don't worry, we're completely redoing the website. And God forbid, they actually hired a fractional CMO. The first thing they would pitch them on is we should completely change the website. Here's the thing, having diagnosed thousands of these pages, having looked at probably tens of thousands of these landing pages, these websites for these B2B SaaS companies, I found that whenever you're struggling with growth, there are 3 common mistakes that are always happening. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through what those 3 mistakes are and how you can avoid them and overcome them so that you're not constantly changing your website and hoping that it works the next time around, which is just as bad as the one more feature trap. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's dig right into it. So the first common mistake that I see with SaaS landing pages is all the way at the top. This is what's called your hero section. This is where you're essentially giving your value proposition and you're kind of giving your transformation. Within seconds, as people go into your landing page or your homepage for your SaaS company, they're making split-second decisions on, as they're reading that text, if they want to do business with you. That's just the honest truth. If the text in this hero section is very obscure, it's very cryptic, it's very esoteric, if it's one of those like you kind of got to know, otherwise you don't, or you got to talk to us and book a call to really understand what this is, if it's very clever, chances are you're making the #1 most common mistake with landing pages and homepages that don't convert to real sales calls or trials. You're just not having a proper hero text. This hero text needs to be explicit. It needs to be direct. It needs to communicate the true value, the true problem that you are solving, while at the same time, it needs to differentiate you from all the other competitors that are well known in the space. And even though it's just one sentence, it's just a few words, that is the thing that makes or breaks whether people take action on that page or just hit that back button. Which is why what you don't want to be doing is changing it every few days. You want to think deeply about what is the transformation we're bringing to our space. How are we actually different? How do we communicate our value proposition within milliseconds as people land on our page? And that's the #1 thing. If you don't do some work to actually figure that out at a deeper level, chances are you're gonna put something very cryptic. You're gonna use words like revolutionize, or you're gonna just explicitly like the old way of doing this is this and the new way is this, which is way too explicit in terms of explaining what you actually do. You need to have a very direct way of communicating what your value proposition is, and that goes in the top big text on any landing page, any homepage for a SaaS business. business. Once you get past that one, then comes the second most common mistake. The second most common mistake comes right after the hero. Now, granted, you were gonna have a button or two over here, whether it's talk to sales or start free trial. And there's a bunch of episodes that I've done on whether you talk to sales or start a trial. I won't cover that in this case. But right after that, people make the second most common mistake. The thing that you need to put over here are benefits. But most often, people start to put features. What's the difference? A feature is you can send an email. Benefit is you can actually do outreach to thousands of people in your ideal customer profile. You see the difference? One is something that the customer cares about. The other is something that facilitates what the customer actually cares about. So the second most common mistake that I see very often in landing pages and in home pages for SaaS companies is people start to get into a list of all the features. And a lot of times, people either don't understand why those features matter, or B, they make you look just like any other SaaS company. And because of that, people are like, oh, I don't know how these guys are any different than Salesforce or HubSpot. So I don't know why I'm gonna go with this CRM company. You get the picture. So it's super important to really start articulating what the benefits are and exactly how you differentiate yourself from the rest of the market in solving those benefits and delivering those benefits. This is a little bit of an art form where you're trying to explain that, okay, if you have a CRM system, you help manage their pipeline. But you also have to differentiate yourself on why any other CRM system can't do what you do. So an example of that might be, we help you manage your pipeline proactively by tapping into AI and all the customer communications that are happening. That is a benefit versus just saying AI-driven deal management, which is a feature but doesn't communicate what the actual benefit is. All these little nuances are what makes for the true benefits of your SaaS platform. And that's one of the number two most common mistake that I see. They jump right in the features in a very undifferentiated way versus really thinking about what are the true benefits that our software is delivering in order to fulfill this value proposition and this transformation that we're promising right above. Okay, so that's the second most common mistake. Now, if you're ready for number three, let me just pause here for a second before I dive into that one, because this is the one that literally kills so many deals. This is the worst because out of the people that land on your page, a lot of them are just gonna hit the back button right away. A bunch of them will start reading, but then even though they start reading, you lose them anyway. You lose the deal in terms of them taking the next step because you screw up number three. Before I go into number three, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? So often I struggle when I meet founders when they're like, oh, we're changing the website. The problem is not the website. It's not the colors. I promise you, the problem is the text, the communication, the way you're communicating the true value that you bring and the way you differentiate yourself in the market. That is almost always the problem. It is not the colors. It is not the theme. And a lot of times people forget some of these basics of, hey, what's our value proposition? Who's this for? How are we different? What are our true benefits? Not so much the features. If you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. Also, if you're in this stage where you're like, TK, I don't know what my value proposition is. I don't really know how I'm supposed to differentiate myself. I'm not so sure how I can communicate the true benefits. I know what my features are. This is where building a proper go-to-market strategy really comes into play. If you'd like to work together and you want my help in building out your go-to-market strategy, you can check out my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll link to it below and I'll tell you about it at the end of this episode. Let's go to common mistake number three, the third most common mistake that's killing more deals than you realize. And the third most common mistake, the thing that people make a mistake around, is they don't build trust. And trust comes in a bunch of different ways. One, it comes from logos, customer logos. Another, it comes from testimonials. And it also comes from case studies. Now, let's first talk about the mistakes that come together first. A lot of times I'll see early stage companies list themselves as, we were product hunter of the day. The thing is, everyone was product hunter of the day at least once, but that doesn't actually mean they were successful. So when users look at this, they're so common, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So the first way I see founders make a mistake with this is they put product hunt of the day. The reality is everyone was product hunt of the day. They got hunted at least once. So every single startup company puts that, and now people try out the product and they realize it's not that that great, so it's been burned. That badge doesn't mean as much anymore. A lot of times people will also put all these crazy Fortune 500 logos, like, oh, IBM, Salesforce, and all these guys are using us. But that also sometimes is not really true. They can kind of tell you're a startup, and it can tell that they're not really using you. Maybe one person downloaded it once, so they don't trust that as much either. What truly works is if you've got a whole bunch of quality reviews. So show that you are rated at this many stars with this many people and put that on there and link to it. What you can show are actual success stories. What you can show are actual testimonials. What you can show are actual recognizable customer logos with the people's names and their titles with what they had to say. Those are the kind of things that truly build trust. And the reason this is important is because so many times startups today can create a really quick SaaS website. They can use a template and it has all these things and it looks semi-professionally designed, but it doesn't quite feel right. It doesn't quite feel true. And you can kind of tell. And buyers today have been trained on this. They kind of know, like, I don't even know these guys have a product. They just have a slick website. So they are looking for those proof points. They're looking for those points of trust that actually make them feel, okay, this is a real company. There's a real product and I want to learn more here. You might be saying, TK, I don't have any customers. I don't have any trust. Well, then you have a different problem. Your problem is you're not trying to convince brand new people to use your product. The problem is you haven't convinced the people you already know that trust you to use your product and give you a successful testimonial. That's the honest truth. There's no excuse for you to not have some proof points and some trust stories in your page. If you still can't quite get to those success stories, you don't have enough reviews yet, you don't have enough badges, you don't have any of those things, the best thing you can also do is put your face on it. Tell your story as the founder. Share that, hey, I'm the founder of this, we're super new, here's what we learned, here's a demo, I'll get on a call with you. All of a sudden, people trust people, they don't trust brands. So in the lack of a case where you have quality customer testimonials and you just don't have enough of that yet, it's still relatively early, that's okay. Put your face in there and own it. And that way people are like, okay, this is new, this is small, but these guys are willing to put their face on it, so I'll trust them because people tend to trust people, and that makes a huge difference. So to recap, here are the 3 common mistakes that I see on landing pages and home pages today. Number 1, their value proposition, the transformation they're delivering is not clear. It's all fancy language and no one understands it and they just leave the page. Number 2, they don't explain the benefits. They may explain the features, but they don't outline exactly what it is that you're delivering on or promising to deliver on. And number 3, they don't build trust. They don't communicate why they should trust you, why others trust you, and demonstrated success in terms of your product that you're offering. Those are the 3 key things. To flip that, the 3 principles you should follow is deliver a clear value proposition in plain simple English on exactly what your product delivers on in a differentiated way. Number 2, instead of listing out your features, communicate the true benefits to the customer. And number 3, I don't care if you have to beg, borrow, or steal, but get your friends to use the product, love the product, and then get their success stories and post on it. And while you're doing that, put your face on it and give your story on exactly why you started the company, what the product's about, and why they should trust you. You do these 3 things, you'll be able to transform your landing page and you'll be able to accelerate your growth to that next stage. So these are the 3 most common mistakes that I see. Now here's the thing, you might be like, TK, how do I communicate my value proposition? How do I communicate my benefits in a crowded market with the features that I have and the way I differentiate? How do I actually tell my founder story so customers trust me? How do I elevate the customers that are successful and tell their story? This is all go-to-market strategy work. And this is how I help inside of my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. Inside of this program, we work on 3 key things. First, we flesh out your ideal customer profile. The reason we do this is when you have a proper ideal customer profile, a proper view of exactly who your ideal customers are, everything that you write becomes that much more targeted. You try to write something for multiple ICPs, then it's gonna be hedging and the words actually come out more diluted. So the first thing we do is flesh out your ideal customer profile. Everyone thinks they have an ideal customer profile or something in their mind, but when they work with me, they're like, oh my God, I totally didn't have an ideal customer profile. And that brings a ton of clarity around your business. Once you have that, then we build out your manifesto. Your manifesto is your positioning. It's your strategic narrative. It's how you differentiate from the competition. It's how you drive urgency on the deals. We help you create that so you have a proper narrative on how to tell the story about your company. That manifesto helps you write your value proposition. It helps you write and communicate the transformation. It helps you communicate the true benefits of your product. It's an enormous exercise that we go through. It's an incredible exercise because it brings so much clarity into how you're actually taking your business into the market. Once you have those two things, then you have your go-to-market strategy and you're able to actually write these pieces that much easier. Once you have that, then you still have to figure out how to get people to actually show up to your landing page. They may not know about you right now. This is where we actually get to execution. On the execution side, I teach you how to run your Broadway show. Your Broadway show is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that drives awareness about your company and your product and brings people to your landing page. This is how you actually drive awareness in the market so they can actually see the transformation you're delivering on. You do these three things, ICP, the manifesto, the Broadway show, you're able to define your go-to-market strategy. You don't have to keep updating your website every single week and hope it works. Then you can execute on it, and that will create pipeline and leads, and that will help you scale your revenues. It's an incredible program. We've shared so many success stories of folks that have gone through the program that have kickstarted profitability for bootstrap companies and raised subsequent rounds of funding for venture-backed companies. It's an incredible program. So if you want to work together inside of my go-to-market program and flesh out your go-to-market strategy and accelerate your growth and make sure you're not making these common mistakes, just go to tkkader.com/GTM. tkkader.com/GTM. When you go to that page, you'll get all the details about the program. The better the fit, the better the results. So we'll have you fill out a small form and get on a call with us. We'll review where you are with the business, what you're struggling with. And if it sounds like I can help, we're off to the races right away. So just go to tkkader.com/GTM. If you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And so do we. We put a lot of love into these videos. If you have a fellow founder, if you're part of a WhatsApp group or Slack group with other SaaS founders and team members, please share this video with them. We want to help as many founders as possible on not making these common mistakes for their landing pages and their home pages. Also, I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market Coaching Program. Take care, everybody. You're going to use words like revolutionize or what's another word for it?